head into it. Dignitas taking the lead in the first one. Can Big make a comeback? Let's find out with our commentary team.
Can Big make a comeback?
On Inferno, yeah, definitely. I think so.
I agree with that. I think Dignitas definitely struggled yesterday. Another situation where I don't really like their CT setup. A lot of gaps in it. They left Arch side open a lot. It's like they said on the desk. It's not like you can fix things overnight. It is really hard to throw a 5-man together and just expect it to work right away. So this will take time to develop, but it is something that is pretty easy to identify. It's hard to identify the exact way to fix it. I suggested bringing Tensky over to A. He's a little more passive. You can be a little more safe in that position, and then getting someone with Jacob who can be a little more aggressive. I would assume Rubino would be the one that I would choose, but we'll see. We'll see. That's my thoughts. What are yours, Harry?
Well, I mean, when we saw them play versus LDLC yesterday, they did look good, I'll be honest with you. I mean, I thought like it was a breath of fresh air into how they were playing, and they did switch their setup up just a little bit, and they kind of remedied some of the problems we were speaking about. It wasn't necessarily perfect, and I do agree with you about your idea of bringing Tensky over towards A.
Just whether or not it's Tensky brought over or not, the reason I say to do it is because they need someone to complement Jacob, and they don't take banana control. They'll stack it up with 3 players. They won't get a first pick. They'll hesitate to rotate off early. If you want to get Fox there, that's fine. Send the 3rd player back over toward Arch once it's established. But if you're going to put 3 there, at least contest for banana control, because they were giving it to them and then pretty much leaving the entire map wide open.
Yeah, well, let's see anyway. Can Big have their comeback here on their map pick? Already going to be charging up Banana. Untamed aggression. Tensky, the man to try and tame it, will be forced back. 3 players for Dignitas with inside the B-bomb site. Perfect if Big do remain as dedicated as they are right now. I mean, look at the aggression from Fox down mid. So much information gained. They're boxed in. Already 4 players on the rotate. They have to be careful about their behind as well. Chroman within the site. Haven't been able to deal with him. They're walking into just a barrage of gunfire. It's looking terrible here. Legia trying to do what he can. Finds himself 1v4. Is able to get 1, but then traded out swiftly by Rubino. And if anything, if that's anything to go by, Dignitas, I mean, that was a nice idea there in that pistol round.
Yeah, I mean, sure. You can't really read pistol rounds versus defaults and tactics, though. So it's worth taking a gamble to get into toward B. We know it's a tight choke point. Teams often like to rush it down. Works out for them. They get the crossfire set up. But now Legia onto a scout. They're going to force buy-in on the big side. No bomb plans either, so this is an aggressive force, all things considered. And they'll get, so this is it, a 3-man setup. Now, again, we're up against pistols, so we're a little early to tell. But a 3-man setup does mean they have to at least rotate 1 player back, so it's Rubino that goes all that way around. Good news I like actually this time, though, is Chroman was playing Pit. On the rotation from Rubino, he's actually staying Arch side. They're going to put Rubino. So they have made 1 adjustment on A. That's one thing to note. If that continues into the gun rounds, maybe that's a trend we can keep an eye on, because a lot of the problem wasn't even that they didn't rotate someone. It was that they were late doing it, and in being late, they left Arch open. So this is potentially, because Chroman's never gone over to support at B. So that's one way they could shut it down if they're going to leave Fox or Rubino to the pit instead.
Look at this from Big, though. They've rotated players background. Going to be heading in up through mid to Absent in apartments. He's here alone, but it looks like the bomb going to wrap back round to try and join him. Looking like Big have their sights firmly fixed on A, at least for the time being. There's only 40 seconds left. Rubino going to be the main point of contention, for these guys. Going to be holding it off. Spotting out towards short, has got Fox to try and help him out. Pop flash comes through, and now we see if this hold is going to be firm enough. And while Rubino flicking between the 2, goes ahead and gets them both, drops the bomb out in the open, trying to get more done, helps out Chroman best he can. But it's Fox to go ahead and get 1. Rubino just raining death from Pit with the 4K. Fantastic stuff on his part. Boatloads of damage done. I think if you looked at it, he probably would have had about 400 ADR in that round. Just fantastic from him.
400 ADR is definitely fantastic, but another good play from Dignitas to hold off and deny a bomb plant from Big, so they'll have to sit back, as we mentioned. They'll get into the 3-round bonus and be fine in the standard gun round, as always. And they go on to the rifles with 2 SMGs for Fox and Jacob. So this is where Jacob can afford to actually be a little more aggressive, and they're going to. I like that. Good. If you use the lose, words are very hard for me these days. The SMGs, it's not the big problem. So perfect call. You've got Fox still on an SMG. You've got Jacob's still on an SMG. You want Fox to get the reinvestment from the money so he can get toward the AWP. So they push both of them down and very aggressively. Look at Jacob. He's already at alt middle. This is perfect play, SMG. I love it. Good call. Great call, Dignitas.
Yeah, now, like, yeah, try to turn things around. Only with the Glock in his pocket. Fox on his heels, just down beneath him. Here's the Glock rallying shots on through and then finishes him off. God B. 1v5 with the Glock. It will be probably one of his best plays. No, it's not meant to be. Chromin finishes him off. They take very little damage, even in terms of HP. Nothing done in terms of the economy. And I don't see them buying up into this one. I imagine it's going to be a round that they try and take for free. No need to invest. They keep everyone alive in that previous round. Big. Going to be buying down. They've got themselves rifles.
But here's the test. If you're going to not, and you're going to play the bonus round, be aggressive again. Get those SMGs. One of the things we never saw them do either, you know, I criticize them for Banana because that's the most obvious, but we never really saw them try and contest apartments or boiler. Virtus Pro has a very cool strategy for that, or used to. God knows what strategies they have these days. Pushing into boiler by getting one up in toward the hulls, and in this case, they're going to do it. Chromin in toward the boiler stairwell, so they can actually be up close, give them nothing at top mid. They're able to hear everything, and they don't allow anyone to come through aggressively and get an execution position, which, to be fair, yesterday, Maniac was able to do a few times against them by sneaking out apartments, and no one was watching it. Perfect setup. Tapson can't go anywhere. Fox is able to take Lakia. Exactly what they need to do. This looks like a much better start already than what we saw from any of the rounds Dignitas played on this map.
God B, going to be the one making his way up in towards Apps. We saw him try and pull this off last time with just the Glock. Now he's got the AK. Has to try and find some sort of equalizer, but Rubino going to go ahead and put him down. A 2v5 to ensue. Kevin next. Backs against the wall, quite literally over in mid. As they make their way now over at long. Rubino holding the angle. For the first time, we see someone actually in a position to try and hold Arch. And look at the push coming up from Banana. In through mid on the flank behind. Their time is very limited on this earth.
Okay, so Jacobs realized it. I was going to say, the one thing that would actually be kind of funny in this situation is because they had so much information from Fox, they all rotated out of Banana, and Rubino thought, okay, well, you guys are close, I'll back off, but they left Arch open. So imagine if they just ran through CT, but Jacob realizes it goes back that direction to make sure there was no chance they were going to get a bomb plant out of this, which is perfect. They shut it down, they only lose one. Again, played the bonus round. Look at the money. Massive already. Fox has over 10K. Here comes the AWP. I expect, maybe not because they're against pistols. Maybe he wants to wait one more. Okay, fair enough. I'll give him the AK. So I'm all for it.
And this is what I mean, right? The Dignitas CT side is looking far better. You say you can't fix stuff overnight, but they've made some serious improvements, I think.
I don't even think that... They did switch the one at pit, so they've definitely talked about it. I think Rubino, I could hear them outside talking yesterday about how they wanted to play short. I didn't quite catch the whole conversation. But this is almost a mentality shift as well because they're getting more aggressive. So again, they're going to go 3 to B here. Tensky's already at barrels. Deep smoke. Jacob looking like he's going to push. That's something they never did yesterday. Instantly as a result as well, Chromin gets a little more aggressive at top mid. So if they do rush onto A, they can back off. They can slow them down with utility instead of being super passive where they gave up Arch almost every single round yesterday. It's much better. It's just more thought out. Everyone's kind of on the same page of what they want to do. Yesterday it was like they had about 2 different ideas, but they never used them in the same time, and it never worked out. So Chromin, good play, backs off again, good positioning. Next gets one, but through the flames they go, and Chromin's back in the pit. This is done already. Another good round.
Yeah, Next just being teased here with bullets raining on it. It's going to go down, and that's Dignitas 5-0 right now. And I feel like, you know, Big coming into this, you go to Inferno if you're Big, because it is a good map for them. And also, I mean, I imagine you see that Dignitas have looked fairly shaky on it thus far throughout this event. But I think when we saw them in LDLC, there were serious signs of improvement. Since then, it's gotten even better. And as you said, they kind of plays onto Banana, something that we didn't see. I feel like they somewhat even a little bit inspired from the games we saw them have, for example, versus Penta. Similar strategies were run there. And now we're seeing that actually being picked up by Dignitas. Same again, 3 players over here towards B. This does leave you vulnerable for an A rush, but the second you get the players on there and actually get them pushed down, it's such a strong position.
Ooh. Okay, good. Rubino is going to rotate. The issue is that time Fox peeked mid with an M4, excuse me. He couldn't quite get vision, but he spotted 2 players going in toward Banana, and it looked like they were going to stay at B thinking there was going to be a rush, which would have been similar to the problems yesterday, predicated on some miscall, but you have to give up Banana this time. They couldn't fully go down on top of it because there was 1 player through the smoke on the inside, so they back off, but they've got Fox playing aggressively at Arch with no one with him. This is a bit of a risk from him. So how does Fox approach this? Timer on the play as well. That smoke dissolves. Godby's waiting, perfectly positioned. He's got about 5 seconds to make a decision, and he's going to go aggressive, caught off by Taps, and there's really not a need for Fox to do so. No one else is playing aggressively toward middle, so now he's down. Rubino's in the site. We're back to the arch side open again.
And that same vulnerability going to shine on through. Whether or not Big will exploit it, curious to see. I mean, if they had been watching these games, they would know that would have been a reoccurring issue of Dignitas in these scenarios. That smoke goes out. Gonna be for Library. This is setting them up to wrap through. And that does look to be what they perhaps wanted to. It's still looking unsure. Instead, they're going to turn their attention out towards A. There's very little time left. No time to wrap. Croman forced out in the open. Takes the peek from Pit a bit unnecessarily. Rubino in the site trying to buy time. That's all he can do. Keep them off the site. He's doing actually a lot of damage. Overstays his welcome and somehow gets 2. That could be the difference maker here. Tensky and Jacob. Next is the one for Big you want to be keeping an eye on. He's worked his way into the back line up in apps. He's actually now going to opt to play things passively along with the team. I like this. If he'd gone aggressive and had been taken down, because Dignitas are going to be checking all these angles, it would have been put back into a 2-on-2. So now, as Dignitas try to take short, God B going to be the one that they run into first. Tensky checking the site. Time ticking away. They have to try and be fast, and God B now pounces out Jacob. Not even sure if he's going to even attempt this now. 1v3. Unless he finds a frag in the next few seconds.
All he's going to do at this point is try and keep them close enough to the bomb that he gets some kills at the end. So good kill from Godby because they've got enough money. Him just sticking around, if he can wound some up so they can't survive the bomb blast, if he keeps them close enough that they lose the guns, it's a win for him. So that was all Jacob was really after at that point in time. So they buy back in. A bit of worrying sign. I really don't know what Fox was playing at the top of middle by himself, especially with a smoke down. He has no information. His teammates are already back, and that's kind of what we saw yesterday, where they weren't really on the same page. There was some ideas, but people backing off, giving up map control, while someone else wanted to do something completely different. You have to decide as a unit, especially on Inferno, where there's so many open positions that the Ts can capitalize on, especially on the A side. Top mid, pushing them back, getting the map control, execution. We know the smokes are more viable in this version of Inferno as well toward the pit, so Croman has more of a difficult time. Same thing, he goes down and Rubino's left sitting nowhere to go.
This round, though, Fox actually looks like he wants to go aggressive on Banana. Having him here with the AWP, you can see how strong that is. It's allowed Tensky to rotate back over towards A. Big, well, they've got 5 players pushing on in. Bomb going to be picked up by the late Kiev. Rest of the guys ready to push on in at a moment's notice, just waiting outside the site. There's 1 minute and 5 seconds left. They're not too pressured for time. They've got Tensky on Dignitas' time to actually watch that arch side. I mean, you can tell with this setup, they've left it open now, playing it more passively on the inside, and that's Tensky's role. If he leaves, that's when problems get created. But as long as he's there, Dignitas are looking fine and Big. Well, like it was going to be A originally, now starting to rotate back. You need Fox to step up in this situation. He has to at least get 1 and then fall on back. He's going to go ahead and get it. Going to look to try and keep the aggression up. Might overstay as well. Commit doesn't want to risk it, looking like he could fade away. Tensky nearly rotates off, but now making his way back on over, not followed up by anything. Big, looking like they're going to make their way out towards A.
So it's Jacob in the pit this time, which is a major difference because they will put Fox on the AWP and B. I haven't seen him over here once. Double up in pit as well, which is very good because crossfires are set. Add that to a triangle with Rubino in the site, rather, excuse me, Croman in the site, but spray down. Croman's going to get 1, Rubino gets the other. Good adjustment, and it's all due to the fact that they can anchor off B with the AWP, and now they've got almost a perfect start to the half because they get 5 rounds. In comes the reset. Boom, hit them again with another one. By the way, yet to be a bomb plant, aside from the round that they won. So when they are winning Dignitas, they're shutting them down entirely. Tensky, for note, oddly enough, only has 1 kill in this. So you're seeing that the players, the factors, the aggressive players finding picks early. If Tensky's getting kills, it's usually because they're getting closer to the B side. Croman's having a heck of a game.
It's just a shooting gallery for Fox over in mid. They want to try and wrap this one up without losing anyone. Keep building up the money on the CT side for Big. Looking like it's going to be a fast round. Saying that, taking the tag early on to God B and now more recently Kiev over towards Banana could slow this down. Fox holding the angle up close with the AWP. Going to fall on back in towards the site. Good read on that. Doesn't want to be up close when these pistols do make their way in. Plenty of utility still left on this A-bomb site to try and hold back this push. And when you look at Big, they've got nothing. Just going into this one. Borderline naked. Rubino and Fox between them get themselves 2 leggy. Spotted out in the open this round over in the blink of an eye. Clean calculated and a great round from Dignitas.
Yeah, and you called that. It was a good call. I think Rubino likely made that call to go back as well because they had a second player over toward Arch, or a third player, I guess, including both of them, to watch top of middle. They had no information. If they push through middle, they can still get damage in from that player alone, and there's no need risking the AWP. And if they had to come out of apartments where Rubino was watching, they lose either of those fights. The pistols will overwhelm them, and they get a bomb plant at the very least. So, good passive call. That's the right time to do it. Looking much more organized, continuing on. It's going to be Fox again in the AWP. Croman's going to push while he tries to op, and they're going to rush in toward Banana on this. With a hard reset, still no money, and they're funneling them in. This is perfect. Night and day. What a very different Dignitas team we're seeing. This I'm impressed by. After yesterday, mid-game, I'm not joking, I literally WhatsApped Henry G and said, this is the worst. In fact, I said a little more worse, more choice language, a little more colorful. I said, this is the worst CT side I've ever seen on Inferno. So this is much better.
No, I mean, I can vouch for how tilted you are. Were. I mean, it's in your personality a little bit, but yeah, no, definitely were at the end of that one. And Dignitas now looking like an entirely almost refurbished team. I mean, fantastic stuff from them. The nade damage onto Banana just then was phenomenal. The round was over before it even began, and you had Croman. The aggression down through mid, something that we didn't see. There was no remedy to any of these problems. I mean, if this happened, you know, yesterday, for example, when we saw them play, or the day before, it would have been a completely different story. That pistol rush into B would have probably worked.
At the same time, you have to start looking at big. To try and slow this down and get picks, to try and thin out the defense and get rotations, because a lot of times they are going for the execution. They're trying to find the fast plays. So for all the good reasons and good things Dignitas are doing, Big are playing into it in a lot of ways. So this time they'll go back toward Boiler. 3-man stack on quad. So a boost again, aggressive. Jacob's going to wrap around, make sure that they don't come out the apartments. And with Fox once more, AWP in Banana with information that he's been given this time, they'll rotate Tensky. So they are playing all the problems, literally. Banana, thanks very much. First pick again, thanks very much. Big has to find a way to get the opening kill, at the very least, in reverse of what I would say. Normally Dignitas gives them that. They've got to fight back to get it because they haven't had it at all. Setup's perfect from Dignitas based on just a single AWP positioning of Fox.
This time, Big, they've gone 2 men down once again. Precisely what you're saying. They're always losing these opening duels, and they even struggle to get trades on the back of it. It's not like you see the frag go the way of Dignitas and immediately someone's there from Big, as we're used to go ahead and trade it back. It is just kill picked up, Dignitas run away, and then just get out-traded on these pushes. So the 3-on-5, Big, going to be waiting for this smoke to dissipate. As it starts to fade, now they're going to push on through. Croman in Boiler, spots the first, goes for the free fire, more walk out of his crosshair, and it was looking like it was just going to be the farm up for him. Over towards Boiler, Jacob takes up his position and gets revenge for his fallen comrade. That is going to be Dignitas making their way forward. Onto a 9th. Big, no money again. It seems a bit hopeless at this point. I was really hoping for a bit more from these guys. And either we're going to see them have the most spectacular CT side half and pull this back as we saw on Mirage, because if not, I'm really not faring their odds too highly after this. I don't see a way that Dignitas could possibly lose this round. Big presumably going to be investing to about $2,000, but really there's very little they could get into that. So let's just say that they do win it. I see it being, what, it's 10-1 at that point. Really, you need at least 5 rounds, so Big would have to win it out to the end of the half.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like to put numbers on things. It's, as you can see, especially at this level, there's a lot of fundamental mistakes that are made teams can capitalize on. But you're right, to give themselves a chance, I'd say 4 rounds is somewhat doable. Back to pistols again. Economy just brilliant the whole round through. They're going to go for a 3-man push toward Banana once more. Big's going to go up toward alt middle. Tabson and Legia going to try and take apartments, which if they can put Fox push down, especially Kiev, getting Fox off dropped. If Croman gets caught out inside the apartments, now they have a problem, and Tensky can't push through that smoke at the bottom of mid, so Jacob has to rotate around.
Good round here from Big thus far. Haven't been able to retrieve the AWP over middle, but they are trying. There you go. It's going to be back on Kiev. That one smoke they picked up, throwing in to try and block off the player in pit.
Fox didn't really need to push that.
No, not at all.
They didn't have a lot of information from an end. They called they didn't see anyone, but that doesn't necessarily mean there's not someone at T-stairs where he was, so. Bit of a misread.
Next, stands in that Molotov for an uncomfortable amount of time. Tagged down to 30 HP. Damage is being done to Big, but the AWP on Kiev, that's the scary factor. He doesn't need armor. Aim Punch is going to play into this, but he is the sort of player that could make this work. And they actually be doubling back now over towards Banana. Tensky's here alone. He's playing this forward anchor roll. Peeks on out, finds the first. Now he has to pull back. Doesn't need to overextend, but okay, Tensky going to prove me wrong. Gets himself a second. Really now I would like to see him leave. And there we go. Tabs able to pick that one up. On 8 HP in the 1v3, it's not looking fantastic. He does have the bomb. And I think he's just going to make the decision to save really in this scenario. Doing damage now in the 1v2. Now we might see him try. No, there's no time. Never mind. What am I on about? Just the save.
Keep this up. We might be done in time to watch the start of the 24-hour of Le Mans. So round done. Tabson at least does carry over the AWP that was dropped out early from Fox.
Counter-terrorists win.
And they'll be able to force up around that as well with Tabson keeping that in. They'll get pretty much a full buy, so Keeve should be grateful that they have that weapon. See if it costs them. That would be karma for the overextension. Gobby's looking a little bit annoyed. What are we doing? I mean, they do look a little bit lost. They aren't... For all the good things Dignitas are doing, which I'm highlighting because we've kind of had a storyline of an unsuccessful CT half. Big's not really doing much at all, and this time they will contest Banana, but it's 3 players there. Smoke out again, and a nade stacked down. They're absolutely winning at every facet. More Banana, or excuse me, more apartment pressure, which is what they're going to go for. Croman's in a world of problems. This is opened up. So if they're going to continue to be aggressive on B, that's fine, but they don't have to double it up with aggression on A as well. You can funnel the offense, you can control them, and set the crossfire. So they're getting a little bit zealous over on the B site, or excuse me, on the A site.
Yeah, rotates have come in. Tensky down from Banana, going to be the one wrapping around from behind. Dignitas, though, for the first time in a long time, playing this one with them at disadvantage. They're the guys on the clock. Going to try and employ, I imagine, potentially a boost over the smoke. And okay, that doesn't pan out. Tabson, quick on the trigger, drops them both out of the equation. Now it's Tensky has himself the AK. The hunt comes in from Tabson, who goes ahead and takes 4. Nearly the ace. And Big, now they get themselves a second. This could be the start of them getting the ball rolling. Alternatively, it could be the start of the road to ruin for their economy. But that shows some promise. I mean, they very quickly identified that, okay, if they've thrown that many nades down from B, then clearly they've gone light on A. And then the aggression coming out as well was completely unnecessary on the A-bomb. So that's something I do agree with you on. I think Dignitas, they get punished for it. So Big clearly are punishing Dignitas if they make the mistakes. Dignitas is not really making all that many just yet.
So Keeve this time gets in position on the AWP, but again, the deep smoke comes out, tries to pre-fire it. Tensky gets to the half wall. Jacob seems like he wants to rotate early, but he's going to leave Tensky on the ground. I might try to go for a boost on that, put him on the half wall, and then back off, because then Tensky just gets that extra split second that he can get the edge on them. But good rotation choice because they are out the top middle. Rubino in the site again, but they've got control of Arch, which means Fox can rotate back now that Jacob's arrived. And it's all under control with Croman winning the first pick.
Now, Tensky jump peeking here. I agree with you. The boost would have come in handy. The smoke goes down. Now, full on back as a result.
Problem now, mid-smoke came into it. There's a timer on that for Tensky, and they had 2 players watching the same position in Rubino and Jacob, so it's good to see him rotate off and lead this. Because they didn't have any information as to where they were. They have to keep themselves spread enough. With only 4 on the T side, but it's Inferno. If you can catch the rotations off, you can still take sites, and the retakes are extremely tough, as we know.
In the back line, Legia could be the one to make all the difference. Catch these guys rotating off A. The rest of the team turning their attention in towards this B site. Jacob's here. Tensky as well. Jacob isn't looking too healthy. He really is to get 1 for this to be worth it. And the Fountain is a position that I always think is very far forward. Legia pounces out on Rubino, closes out that man advantage, and actually going to make rotating extremely difficult. Means these guys within the site are under that much more pressure. Good damage done, and now Tensky steps up. It all falls onto Keeve. There's so little time left. He has to first deal with the player in the site, and Tensky just making that difficult. The no-scope comes in, shuts him out, and now it's the 1v2. Keeve in with the bomb plant. He's tagged down so low through the smoke. Croman to finish the triple. As Dignitas pick themselves up. And
denying the bomb plant is significant as well, because that leaves them all at 3,100. They would have been right around 4K and had a full buy. So they're hindered. Yeah, and they've got to go to pistols. That's huge. That's massive that he gets that through the smoke. Good shot, Keeve. But really good job, Jacob and Tensky, each getting a kill before they go down. Especially Jacob, 14 HP. equaling the trades on the way through. End of the round on its own. Even with Ligia getting the first player on rotation, Chrome had flashed himself back in into the fight. Fox down middle. Aggressive. He gets Ligia. Next is on the only AK-47. Fox, last time he contested against pistols, did go down there, if you remember. So it's Tensky to find Kiev, but they're all things under control.
Tensky's gone aggressive down Banana as well. This is more aggression than Big are used to. Got to be able to drop out Fox. Gobby got himself the AWP to play with next as this AK over to short. And Gobby coming around, looking to try and make the name of himself on the AWP. But here comes the peek from Croman. Has to try and stay alive. He's buying time for the rotates to come through. Dropping that bomb has allowed Tensky just to come rushing up through mid, bounding into the back line of Big. Jacob here as well. Bomb plant coming in. Next able to get that down. Gobby up here by Long now. Flanking in from short. Looking to try and come up from behind. Next goes down. It's all on Gobby. We've seen him clutch some fantastic stuff on Mirage. This time has to try and do it on Inferno. Bomb defuse coming on through. And he's going to get caught in the fire and flames. Jacob to finish that one off. Big are definitely looking better in these last couple of rounds. They've come a hell of a lot closer, but Dignitas winning them both out. Going to take it 12-2 now. Big need this next round to get them out the danger zone, or else the pistol solely decides their fate.
This isn't like, by the way, I want to state this as well, because credit where credit is due. This isn't just Dignitas suddenly clicking. This isn't just falling into place. This was a conscious decision to evaluate the issues they were having, and I have to give credit to Rubino, because like I said, I heard him outside talking about this, but they've clearly gone home to the hotel last night. I call it home because basically where I live these days, and made the adjustments required, and it's showing, so hats off, because that's hard to do on the fly, and they've certainly done it. Fox again down mid, tags up Kiev, and then they'll fall back because they've got the utility down, they've got control of the situation. If Fox in the AWP, he can easily play the arch angle by himself. We see that all the time. It's a great spot to be in. And this is good too, because now it's down Jacob. They've pulled the rotation over. Fox gets the first kill. This is where was this yesterday? This is so much better. From 0 out of 10 yesterday to like 9 out of 10. I'm not going to go 10 out of 10, but 9 out of 10.
Yeah, people say you're harshest critic. You are your own harshest critic, but in Dignitas' case, it's Matt. As
Yep, that's true.
the two-man advantage now for Dignitas. Both these players for Big, incredibly isolated from one another. And you're going to see Legia look to try and meet up with Nex. Smoke is down on B. Tensky on the other side. Goes in for the spray. Now they know he's here. As the shots rally back through, you can see that instills the confidence for Fox to rotate and look at this push from Chrome. And this is the real difference maker. Joining him is going to be Rubino. Tensky just tapping away on heads, and now it's just Legia with this AWP. 1v4 in the smoke, gonna rub barrels with Fox, and okay, trying to stay alive, but Fox shuts him down. 13-2, Dignitas. A fantastic CT side, and as you said, it's night and day from the previous performances we've seen.
Yeah, and again, I highlight that for all the good reasons, but I also have to point out Big for being quite lackluster in their takes. They themselves were not using utility to push the CTs back when they knew that the trades were unfavorable, when they could, try and knock them off the top mid position. Had to contest Banana a little bit more, because at one point it went from Big struggling, to, even still being hesitant to take over Banana, to just constantly saying, all right, Jacob, run down. Like, they're not going to be there, which makes it so much easier to rotate back. Fox was there with the AWP. At least do something. If you're going to bleed out time in the round, at least do something to bleed that utility off the B player. So even if he's still in Banana or in the B site, you've got to rotate someone around to give him support, and that's when you start to create the movement and weaknesses, and they didn't really do any of that. So it was a tale of two halves as Tensky starts off this one with Gobby and Fox getting the kills with 13 rounds. We could be done quite quickly if this goes this way.
Yeah, this push is going to continue from Tabson, but no, Fox up close. He takes them both. The burst fire with the Glock to round that one off. Key falls within a Dignitas now. 14-2. They win out the pistol in that second half. Fantastic stuff. The anti-eco comes in big. They have to force buy from now to the end of the game if they want to keep themselves in this. Of course, if Dignitas win, they will beat the second team making it through to the major qualifier, getting that spot. There's still one left to play for when all is said and done.
Yeah, 2 rounds and they're into the major qualifier, which, look, this was a good job to identify it and come to the fundamentals. They're not going to improve this much over every single night, let's be honest, but they've got some time now to reset if they get these 2 rounds into the qualifier, which I think this is a team that with time will have a decent peak level, have a good potential to be sort of a backside of the top 10 spoiler kind of team. So I'm excited for that reason alone. There's a world where I could definitely see them in the major. Fox, good entry, takes down Legia. Tatson Self-boost, though, getting one and drops off, changes the angle, can find another headshot, but Tensky's not going to be fooled. Or foiled as the bomb comes toward Banana, but watch the push toward alt mid. Bomb could have been caught quite quickly there. Godby was in position with an AK that could have easily foiled everything that time.
Keeve and Nex, both on the site. Keeve peeks out. Nex is tagged down so low, and Godby, the one player with that rifle, trying to make his way on round. Bomb just going down, does leave Big with a bit of time. I'm curious to see the decision-making into this round. It looks like they're going to try and go for it. Both players stacked up on the site. They've got a good bit of time to work with. They have to try and find an entry quickly. And as they peek on it, Godby very, very careful on the angle. Tensky now peeks on out. Godby able to find the burst, tries to get more work done. Next falls, but Godby, the clutch king, gets himself two. Croman brings Dignitas to match point, 15-2. I was hoping Godby, we could have seen another just incredible feat from him, and it just wasn't meant to be.
I mean, when Godby's the guy that has to step up in most of these situations,
yeah,
you know you're having an off game, you're struggling. Tapson's got 10 kills. He's the top of the leaderboard with 10 kills. I mean, when was the last time, even in a bad game, we saw Tapson not at least have a round or two where he dominated? Things are just not clicking at all.
I mean, one of the 2 rounds they did get, he got the 4K, so he has had the round that he dominated, but that's the only really round they got. This time, aggression down mid. Oh my goodness, damage done. This round looks like it could go the way of Big, and somehow Fox is going to leave himself in the 1v3, but no, there we go.
Fair enough. Nade stack. Throw a Hail Mary in and it works. They get aggressive. Big. I'll give it to them. What else are you going to do in that situation? Dignitas walked straight into it. No harm, no foul. They've got 12 more rounds that they can sit back and enjoy the lead with. 2 SMGs bought up. Not really a need for it, but again, 12 rounds.
I mean, I just can't wait to hear the guys on the desk try and rationalize this one. 15-3 right now. Dignitas one away. Fox has been tagged down very low early on. Next. Oh, the spray's looking uneasy, but he does pull through. In the blink of an eye, it's all on Jacob. 1v4. Bomb isn't going to be picked up. Instead, trying to find something. Peeks out mid, spots Keeve, and Nex is looking like he wants to rotate in to help, but Keeve gets the job done on his own. Dignitas using these 2 on the back of that Hail Mary play down mid from Big, but now this is going to allow Big to potentially reach themselves a 5th. I mean, they should, right? No buy can come in from Dignitas in this one. They can't buy up into the next. So 15-5, at least making it more respectable. Overtime still a possibility, right?
You're so young.
It's
kind of cute.
I'm trying to remain optimistic, okay?
I used to do that.
And then just the crushing, harsh reality
and then
of
Counter-Strike
life.
took over my life. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. There we go.
I think they're pulling a bit of an existence. Sitting back in spawn, maybe just talking it over, relaxing. It's like resting and relaxing at the same time. I do love my compound words. So nothing to report. They're already down banana and down middle by the time they leave spawn, so let this one run. Is Croman even in the server still?
Yeah, he is. I think they're just talking it through. He was actually trying to spot the hidden PGL camera that flies over the...
Oh, yeah, the thing that's totally invisible.
Yeah, that one.
I get it. That's wise.
Here we go, this one. See? Couldn't quite catch it. Yeah, 15-5. Big. I'm going to go ahead and get themselves a couple, but now Dignitas in with the chance to buy. Their grace period has ended here for Big, and this is where the going gets tough. They've got the AWP up on Keeve, rifles across the board for Dignitas. Good bit of utility, a little bit limited on a couple of these players, Tensky, Rubino, and Jacob. 1 round away, 3 players up alt mid. 2 waiting over towards their ramp. Aggression down Banana coming in very early on from Tabson, but he's been isolated from Legia. If the peak came in now, it could be devastating.
Tabson taking Fox. So decent start again to get the opening pick, but trade by Tensky, which forces a double rotation back to B, because if they pushed on that, they would have already taken down Legia, and Keeve gets in position as well. So Rubino, Jacob, and Croman toward the apartments. This is more what Big needed to do. If they could find even a trade, slow it down. Force the CTs to use everything. There's 3 smokes left. The good news is they've got Legia with the smoke down in the bottom side of Banana, so he'll be fine to cover this off, so they can at least get a rotation back to A. But the more time that goes by, more favorable this becomes for Dignitas.
It's all eyes on Legia. Dignitas, they're fixated on B. They have to be worried that he could be here. They're not going to check it. Legia could step up, but no, the pressure gets to him. He does damage, but that's it. Keeps rotated around with the AWP, has to step up, gets himself 1. Pulls us back into a 3-on-3. Rotate's already going to be arriving from Big. They're not out of this round just yet. Bomb plant comes in. Utility to shut them out of the site.
Desperate for Keeve. He's got to wait for the rotations. That all comes down to Legia falling, and the last smoke gone. They can't put one on the defuse. Got a kid on Keeve. Low HP, but Dignitas are going to take this at 2 on... Ooh, hang on.
Yeah.
Maybe a shadow of a doubt. Still not a full doubt, but a shadow of one as Keeve back exposed goes down to Tensky. And hats off to Dignitas. Massive improvement. They deserve that 2-0. They definitely deserve Inferno, and they should be happy with themselves on that. They'll go through to the major qualifier as well as our upper bracket final.
And I think that's incredibly well deserved. I think it was a very nice storyline watching them progress, seeing them come into this as, a team that hadn't really had the most amount of time to actually practice, especially when you compare them to the likes of Big. So, I think it's a really nice storyline to look at. Big, they still have their shot, though. There is that 3rd spot up for grabs. Just because they didn't get this one doesn't mean that there isn't a light at the end of the tunnel still potentially for them to work towards.
Yeah, totally. I mean, Big going up against Envy. Envy's left us nothing to be happy about. So, I mean, that game's tomorrow morning. They both have time to go home overnight. But I think this is actually worst case scenario for Envious at this point in time as well, because Big's way more structured. Unless Envy show up and actually finally bring their A game, going against Dignitas, we've seen a lot of problems with Dignitas. We know they're relying strictly on individual form until now. That's the first encouraging sign I think we've seen otherwise. I would have thought Envy, okay, that's your best chance because you can still play kind of sloppy and maybe get away with it. Now going against Big, no, sorry, the sloppy style is not going to work. You've got to show up and bring some execution on the T side. So I think Envy is potentially the team that goes out of this, which would be ridiculous in that sense. But Dignitas and Penta are definitely through to the qualifier. They're up in the upper bracket final. That's coming up. But first, let's go to Paul.
Open qualifier 1, open qualifier 2, open qualifier 3, closed qualifiers, EU minor, all completed by Team Dignitas. They've only got one more qualifier to go before the major now as well.
That map was an open and shut case.
Hey.
Your turn.
That's your input, is it?
That's all I've got to say.
Henry, I want to ask, you said before this map started, they've got to step up their CT. They've got to have fixed the mistakes they had in their CT.
All they had to do was just play a classic CT half. Nothing
and it was perfect.
Dramatic. It was just really good. Overall play was looking much better. The chemistry was there. They were actually falling back to the bomb sites when required, having the crossfires and balancing that with the kind of calculated aggression when you kind of throw different change of pace. It was just really good to watch, and that's much better than a win a half like that, 13-2, right? I have to say, though, Counter-Strike, right, for all the tactics we talk about and all that sort of stuff and the team play, it is about fragging at the end of the day. It's about, you can't win rounds unless you're killing people. I think we got into 11 rounds there.
11 rounds
you worked it out, right? It was like they had...
Rubino had 17 after 11.
Yeah. And
Big had 12.
Yeah, that's total for the whole team, right? And it just seemed like none of them showed up. And I'm getting a little bit worried about this big lineup in general. It seems like we talk about Tabson so much, and he is great. He could be world class, but if he doesn't turn up to the rest of their games, who are they falling back onto right now?
I mean, the one round they got back into it was where he had a 4K.
Yeah, exactly right. That's the worrying
if you're relying
thing
on
when you're having an off game. So we talk about Legia. Pretty awful on Mirage. He finished the first half, I think, with 3 frags in this map as well. Same story for Next. Like, what has happened to Next? Like, we were discussing the agreement just then. Like, for me, he used to be one of the most exciting prospects in German CSGO, at least. When he was in Mouse Sports and he first joined, I thought, wow, this guy, his aim is brutal. No one can really duel him right now. He might be the next Nico, right? And I can't think of a memorable moment from this tournament.
No, well, we were racking our brains, weren't we? We were trying to figure out what highlights has he been involved in.
That's the killer element as well. Even when he was, the Nico era, when he really struggled in Mouse Sports. Yeah, he struggled once you got to the Tier 1 competition. Once you were in a major, that's where he wouldn't show up, and people would be like, oh, he's unreliable, he's not a star player. But you would go back and you'd play in a smaller tournament, and he'd dominate. So now he's even regressed on this level. You haven't really seen it. I mean, earlier on, DreamHack Leipzig, he was very, very good. He was, again, looking like him and Tabson. That's a combo where they can do at least against the lower tiers. So kind of very disappointing to see them falling apart.
Well, I think that's the point, isn't it? It's not just that Dignitas have played well here, and you don't want to take anything away from them.
Absolutely.
But that's not the big we've seen in the rest of this competition, let alone the rest of the year.
No, shocking. Like we said, you can have all the strategies in the world, but if no one's fragging and everyone's looking removed, and even like the AWP wasn't turning up, your star player's not there. God B's having, like we said, he normally has like a few good clutches here and there. That wasn't working out for him. No opportunity to do that. And I'm just wondering, how does Legia and Next fit into this team? What is their responsibility right now? So I'm not really being impressed by them whatsoever. So yeah, they're not out of the tournament just yet, but they continue playing like that, they might find themselves out of it. It's not looking very good at all.
Indeed. Let's take a look at the MVP right now for you. This is a bit of a new name, I guess, for many of you. Croman is
He was
the
actually sick,
MVP.
to be fair.
Yeah, 5.49 impact rating, decent on that one. 21 for 10 in this one. Had a clutch in the middle of that as well as plenty of straight kill. I mean, he's been a bit of a revelation, Henry.
He absolutely has, and he was a player that wasn't on my radar whatsoever. I wasn't excited about his Dignitas lineup when I saw it on paper. I thought, God, some recycled names and some ones I've never heard of. I don't think he'll be stepping up. And he's not the flashiest player, and he doesn't get the craziest clutches like you can see there. He doesn't do anything phenomenal, but he slots into this team very nicely. He's done what he's told. He's learning as he progresses, and he just seems to be a safe pair of hands. I think that's how I've described him in the whole tournament. So I'm really happy to see him get a nice little MVP performance there. Pretty cool to see.
Duncan, we're going to have an interview with Rubino in a minute, but just final thoughts on both Croman and the fact that they've got this team starting to look good again?
Yeah, because this is the thing. Even to this point in time where, they were obviously at a position where they're going to the major qualifier now. You can make it all the way through. You think how many matches you have to play in this format.
Yeah.
They still had never shown a good CT half. It was quite ridiculous, actually, that you could have just lived and died by those T halves. So they get there. They've now shown us a really strong one. And admittedly, this is on a map that the big guys absolutely play this map. This is a really strong one for them.
Yeah.
So I think positive in that sense. It just shows you, though, how when you extend the format out, you get upsets when you have a very limited format. But this also actually has shown, really, that none of these teams are that consistent in this format, actually. I mean, so far, only Penta really have kind of gone without a massive problem. And even they started off with that very close game against iGame. So I think actually when you have to play a lot of best of threes and a lot of best of ones, you've seen that no one in this field is this much ahead of everyone else. It's actually been surprisingly competitive.
Yeah, very close all the way through the tiers. Let's bring in Rubino. Congrats once again. Congrats more so this time because you've nailed the offline qualifier position, which I guess is goal number one here.
Yeah, of course, that's the number one thing. Like, we wanted to qualify to a major qualifier, and we did that now. So everything now is just to play games and have fun, learn a bit from it because we're still a new team. So we need to learn things and find out how we want to play and what is working and not.
When you think back, and I was talking earlier to the guys, that first open qualifier that you struggled in, and the second one you had a shocking game in. And when you think back to those open qualifiers, you think, wow, that was so long ago. All those online games, you've had to come through the 3 qualifiers and the closed qualifier just to get here.
Yeah.
You'll have played 6 qualifiers if you end up playing in the major, which sounds insane. How have you kept it together?
Well, it's hard, of course. You're playing so many qualifiers. I'm not used to play. It's a long time since I played this last time, so of course it's exhausting and it will destroy your practice schedule because you need to play all these qualifiers. And if you're failing, as we did, you need to do it, and it sucks, of course. And playing the minor qualification or like the qualifier to go to the minor, it's a lot of random names that just beats you. Like, you don't know who it is, and they just crush you. So
yeah, I guess it's much harder to prepare against some of the smaller teams too, and they can surprise you.
Yeah.
You must be happy about that performance in the last one because we've been saying you guys haven't had the best CT halves so far at this tournament. Finally, you show us just how good you can be.
Yeah, well, our city side wasn't so good yesterday. I think a lot of it is because of communication errors.
Sure.
We do stupid mistakes going aggressive when we shouldn't be aggressive. And today I told the guys, the most important thing is that we get our communication up. Just talk as we normally do in practice or when we play good. And everyone was really hyped today. Really, everyone was talking good, and the mood was really good. And on Inferno, we just figured out that that's how we won. I think we played Space Soldiers to qualify to minor, and we played that style today. So we found out that was the best way for us to play city sides.
So when we saw the veto, it looked like you were playing with fire, but you basically gave Big all their best maps for the whole series.
Yeah.
So what did you know coming in? Were you just accepting the fact that you'd have to play their best maps to play yours? Was it not a concern?
we actually thought they would pick Train over Inferno,
Okay.
to be honest, because I thought they would see that we didn't play Train so much. So when they picked Inferno, we got actually pretty surprised. But we have been watching them, and we knew exactly what they're doing as CT, as T on Inferno, and we felt pretty confident, to be honest. Like Mirage, we knew that we are pretty decent at. So when we won that, we were pretty confident that we could also win Inferno. Of course, they had some good results, but we saw that they won versus Virtus Pro. That's like the best team they won versus on Inferno, and we also won versus them. So we thought this was going to, we could actually win this, and we did.
I just wanted to ask you, like, obviously this is your first time as the main in-game leader for a team as well, and you're kind of utilizing some newer players within the team as well, especially Croman, who just got an MVP performance there. I was wondering if you could describe his role within the team and what his strengths are and what makes him look so good at the moment.
Croman is kind of like the entry fragger with Tensky or Yekam right now. We are trying to find out how I'm trying to find out how to utilize my players best possible way. So right now it's Croman is like an entry fragger, but he's really good, and I think he just needs more experience. Of course, he's still a really new player, but I think he is in the right way in many aspects. He takes criticism in a good way to fix errors, and I'm pretty surprised that he's making the numbers he is right now. I didn't expect that because he's still a new player. And
where did you find him from, just out of interest?
We knew who he was in Norway. He, like, everyone knows everyone in Norway basically. So so we have been watching him, and when he played in the Norwegian team, he was like the star in the team. So we thought, let's give him the opportunity to play. And of course, Seves was our coach, was playing with him in that team. So he told us like he is missing some experience, but he's really good like individual and such. So we just brought him, and it works really well.
Great stuff.
Yeah, does work very well. He's just had an MVP performance as well. Congrats, and we'll see you in the upper bracket final. Don't forget, you know, I know you want to have some fun now, Rubino, but there is 45 grand on the line if you win the next game, because you're guaranteed a slice of that. So, you know, I just want to put a bit of pressure on you.
It's not pressure now. Just play as we usually do. Hopefully we'll win. We'll see.
All right. Well, good luck and well
Thank
done.
you.
Thanks, Rubino. So, we now know our two upper bracket teams. We also know the 14th and 15th team through to the offline finals, just looking for one more. Don't forget, we'll see that one tomorrow, because the lower bracket match will be tomorrow. Coming up for the rest of the day, though, we do have our final best of three of the day, and it will be between Penta and Dignitas. We'll see you soon.
Coming up next, Penta versus Dignitas.
Gaming Bets, online betting for